better not say anything stupid.
I just caught that on tape. So, hey, so who are you?
So I'm Alex Gounares. I run corporate strategy at Microsoft, and I'm also Bill Gates' technology advisor.
And this is one of my last interviews here
Great.
at Microsoft, and I can't think of a better
Congrats
way.
on the new job there, Robert.
Hey, thanks. It's going to be a wild ride, so I couldn't think of a better way to...
Great having you here at the company. You've done a lot of great things. So
thanks.
We're really excited about Channel 9 and the blogging. I mean, it's turned into a huge phenomenon.
Yeah.
So, I think you get a lot of credit for that.
I think 80 people were blogging when I got here, and now there's 3,000 just 3 years later. It's crazy.
It's really great to see.
Thanks. So, Bill Gates TA, man.
Yeah.
I think, I've been going through this company for 2 years now with this little camera, and I haven't found anybody who has a better job than me yet. But you might be the guy.
That is a good job. I will agree with that. No, it's very fun. You get to sort of see and learn about a lot of different technologies. Everything from games to internet services to business applications. And you get to see it all. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, what is Bill Gates TA? That's technical assistant, right?
Yeah.
That means you're pretty smart. I mean, I can make some assumptions right there, right? Because Bill wouldn't put up with a dummy like me being his TA, right?
No, Bill prefers smart people who can carry on a good intellectual discussion.
Yeah. That counts me out.
You've done some great interviews with Bill.
Yeah.
I think it worked out well.
Yeah. So. I can make some other assumptions about you, just knowing that you're in this spot.
Okay.
That you're a good relationship guy.
We'd like to think so. I mean, one of the key attributes of the particular role that I have here is it's really a job where I'm supposed to help people.
Yeah.
And for the last 3 years, every year, for those folks who are external, we have the yearly review commitments.
Yeah.
And my review commitments are very simple: help Bill, help Microsoft.
Yeah.
And so it's taken me to all different projects, a lot of different people, but I really do view my role as one to help and facilitate and help do new products for the company, help do new products for our customers.
Now, do you have is your role time limited? Like, you get it for 2 years? Is that one?
It's a rotational job.
It's a rotational job. Because I used to work down the hall from other guys who've been in your job, and they told me they got kicked out after 2 years.
Gupta, Eric Rutter, Steve Sinoski were all Bill's TAs before. Yeah,
and why do they do a rotation? Why don't they let somebody build a whole bunch of skills and then stay in the job? Why do they want some fresh blood going through?
For exactly that reason. They have fresh blood, new perspectives, and just the more that you can rotate people through, give more people the experience of the broad view, and get new ideas, just the company works better.
Yeah.
So
I take it you're pretty well traveled as well.
Oh yeah.
Because that's part of the job, is to go with Bill wherever Bill's going, right?
Not so much.
Really?
Not so much. We
keep
fairly independent schedules.
Okay, so you don't get on his jet and fly with him to Tech Ed. Like, he's at Tech Ed right now, right? Or no, that was Steve Ballmer. I can't keep track of their flight schedules either, but
yeah, a lot of the executives here do travel a lot. But,
yeah.
No, we kept pretty independent travel schedules.
Yeah.
I did go around the world and met with a lot of customers and a lot of our different teams around the world. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. How do you get a job like this? I mean, do you write Bill up and go, hey, can I be your next TA?
No,
because I'm sure there's a lot of
process.
people watching this video going, hey, that sounds like a pretty interesting job.
It is a good job. No, it's there's a selection process. And we go through some of the candidates internally, and Bill simply picks. And so when I was first asked to be considered for the job, I actually said no.
Why?
I was like, oh no, that's too much. And after about an hour of talking to me, my bosses convinced me to put me on that I'd be okay to be.
They probably did the good old. It's a good career move if you do this. That's how I got brought here to Microsoft. It's like,
my thinking was, fine, put me on the list for consideration, because I already said no. I mean, what's the worst that'll happen? I won't get the job, and so there wasn't really any downside to being on the list for consideration.
Yeah. What did you do before? What did you do before? What got his attention, or what?
So before I was Bill's TA, I was in the tablet team. work on tablet.
My favorite product.
Yep. Over here, the Toshiba convertible.
Yay!
And so I had a lot of different roles there. Was the development manager and architect, and so really got to be hands-on with the technology and help the team get it out for V1. Yeah. So it was a very, very exciting product because it was something new that we'd done, and we had a lot of learnings. And the tablet 1.5 release, we called it Lone Star internally.
Yeah.
That definitely got a lot better, and now the new tablet for Vista is looking really, really nice.
Yeah, I'm using it. It's really awesome.
Great, great.
I'm going to keep using it too. So.
Good.
You're just like 20 yards from Bill's office, right?
Oh yeah, Bill's office is right down the hallway, which you can't see. If you turn the camera, you'd see my whiteboard, so it isn't very helpful. But yeah, his office is just a couple down.
And I bet
Steve Ballmer's is right down the other.
Oh, you're right in the middle of them. So if they start
good and bad.
if they start going at it, you're like right in the middle of.
I've never really seen them go at it. So
really.
There's a lot of good topics, but it tends to be fairly fairly fun working environment.
Well, you get to see a lot of history being made. I mean,
absolutely.
I wrote on my blog yesterday that I was walking around the building too, and not many people in the world get to come in this room, and this room and Bill's room and Steve's room are making history gets made up here,
Yeah, but that's actually one I would challenge you on a little bit. So one of the things that we pride ourselves on is the open door policy. And if you take like Think Week, which we're just wrapping up, where Bill goes off and reads papers, we've now opened that up to the entire company. Yeah. So we have thousands of papers online. A huge portion of the company has read these papers, participated, and I was actually working on that this morning. And what we do now for Think Week is we have, this is probably not visible, but I can describe it.
I can zoom in and say, it's a lot of small types.
Yeah.
So a lot of papers.
Have a lot of papers, and it's open to the entire company.
Yeah.
So anybody can read a paper, comment on it. I see those papers. I see the comments. Bill sees the papers and comments. You can rate them. You can tag them, like Flickr style or Delicious style. Yeah. And so we've really tried to make the executives here very accessible intellectually. Now, getting time on the calendar is very hard because that's limited. Yeah. But getting time for your ideas. That's very doable. Yeah,
that's one thing I really liked about Microsoft is, I've worked at other big companies. I worked at NEC, which had 115,000 employees, and I never talked outside of my little group. I didn't even know the CEO's name. It was in a different world. And here at Microsoft, we can write Bill an email, and he answers back, and it's like, wow.
It's very open. I mean, some of our senior technical fellows have...
And not just because I was, I'm known now, but he answered my email before I was, before he knew who I was. And
that happens all the time still. We've had administrative assistants write Think Week papers that were very good. One of the best wireless papers came from one of our salespeople in Argentina. Wow. Named Enrique. And so it really is an idea meritocracy. If you have a good idea and you want to, push it forward, get people to see it, collaborate on it, help make it better, that's something that can really happen here. Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether you're, fresh out of school, a new employee, or you're, 20-year industry veteran with lots of experience. A good idea is a good idea. Yeah.
That's one thing. One reason I think blogging took off here too. I told the Associated Press that. I said, because they were trying to go, well, did Microsoft really put up with your style of blogging? Do they really like it? And it's like, dude, Bill Gates likes arguing ideas out, and he doesn't mind doing it in public square. He gets up on stage at the D conference and argues out ideas with other people. And it's like, that process is how good ideas bubble up.
That's right.
And I think that's really, really. In 10 or 15 years, I think people are going to realize that that's really the way to run companies, to let everybody blog, not just the execs, not just some corporate mouthpiece, but let the guy who builds the products, tell the world his ideas and see if it flies.
That's right. It's really all about transparency, communication, and collaboration. Yeah. And you don't ever, if the company didn't become greater than the sum of the parts, what's the point?
Yeah.
And the only way you sort of create something greater than the individual parts is to collaborate.
Yeah.
And if you don't have transparency, you don't have that dialogue going, well, then it's just a whole bunch of individuals. And
yeah.
you know, as individuals, you can't accomplish as much as you can as a team.
Yeah.
So.
I'm trying to think of what an MVP would ask. You know, why isn't Microsoft known for building better products than it is? We have some successes on some side. You know, I love my Xbox. You know,
right.
Breakthrough product. You know, and anybody who plays one gives up and stops bashing Microsoft for a second because it's a breakthrough product. It's an awesome product. Tablet PC is to me a breakthrough product, but it hasn't seen the market success yet.
That's right.
You know, we're still
well,
on the curve of
it's been doing quite well.
Okay.
But it has taken us some time to get there.
Yeah. But as I travel the world, people always ask me, "Can you fix my Windows machine?" You know, and you know, why is that, and how can your office change that? How, you know, what are you doing
right.
from the top of the company? You know, I'm doing it from the bottom of the company, and you're trying to do stuff from the top of the company.
Right. Well, I think there's a couple different aspects going on. You know, one, you know, we all have our, you know, share frustrations with Windows or some other product. But if you compare, say, Windows today from the computing experience you had in 1985,
yeah,
right, or even 1995,
yeah,
it's night and day different.
Yeah.
You know, for any of you that went to your config.sys to go twiddle that to get a game to run, and now you just plop in a CD of the game, I mean, it really is night and day different.
Yeah.
Now that said, one of the things that has changed is our expectations have risen a lot, both in the world at large and internally.
Yeah.
And so we're absolutely not satisfied with where we are. We want to make, you know, our products better, the computing experience better. And so one of the big things that we do in this office is try to, and with Bill, is try to identify, here are the areas that we can make substantial improvements.
Right.
So, for example, the area of security is one that we've been working on for a while and really had a lot of focused IQ on. Yeah. And we're not out of the woods by any means. There's still viruses out there and so forth. But I think we've made a lot of progress, and we'll continue to make progress.
Yeah, Vista makes a dramatic progress. I can't wait to show people, you know, some of the bad sites I visit, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, with the phishing filter.
Well, the phishing is one thing, but even if you hit a site that was able to attack, you know, an older OS,
that's right.
It doesn't on this one, and hopefully that, knock on wood, remains the case. So.
Well, it's not invulnerable. I mean, we should be clear. We don't yet have that level of technology, but that's what we aspire to.
Yeah. But it does dramatically raise the bar on security.
I would hope so.
I think 6 months from now, I think everybody's going to see that. But, what's your favorite feature of Windows Vista, by the way, since we're talking about that? Is it the new security stuff? Because the new security stuff is not you know, it's not the kind of thing that thrills you. It's the kind of thing that after you use it a year, it's going to go, man, I really like using this. You know, it doesn't hurt me anymore.
My favorite feature is a very obscure one that I'm not sure really surfaces itself to the general user. It's something we call Superfetch. I'm not sure if we even have a name for it.
Okay.
What we've basically done is gone in and updated the memory manager to really be smart about machines with a lot of memory and large disks, and that's resulted in some really good performance improvements.
Yeah.
And so I put on my old, I used to be a developer back in the days, and so I put on that hat, and the work that our team did there was just quite good.
Wow. I've seen the demos of that.
It isn't one of the you know, the UI features that a lot of people comment on, but you look under the hoods, there's a lot of good improvements to Windows as well. And that's my favorite under the hood improvement.
Yeah. For me, it starts with a search engine and goes up from there. So.
Yeah. Integrated search is fabulous. I mean, it's completely changed the way I work.
Yeah.
I used to file everything away and try to be very detailed, and now I just put it into one big spot and search for it if I ever need it again.
Yeah. It's interesting, since I've gotten to travel this company and talk to a lot of employees, I think the number one question they get asked by their family and friends is, have you ever met Bill Gates? And of course, you know, it's easy just reading the blogs and the news stories to forget how big this place is. You know, I have coworkers who work in Ireland who I met, you know, flying there, and it's like, and that's just in my team, right? That's not even Microsoft. That's on my team, and we're worldwide. Isn't that crazy? I mean, to have 60,000 people and everybody knows who Bill Gates is and tries to, relate to Microsoft through that somehow. I keep getting asked that. Have you met Bill Gates?
No, it is interesting. Bill's definitely a very public figure in that sense. But the comment about working with people in Ireland and China and so forth. I mean, one of the neat things that's happened is there's people I work with all over the world, and you kind of the boundaries have disappeared. Yeah. I mean, the time zone boundary gets weird still. Yeah. That we don't have a solution for.
We got to figure out how to make our brains not need to sleep anymore.
Right.
We can just work around the clock.
It's a secret project. We're not allowed to talk about
I'm not signing up for the beta of any of the brain jacking stuff that you guys are going to do.
That's secret. Very, very confidential. No, but it is just amazing how much the boundaries around the world have gone down. Yeah. And I had a meeting just yesterday with somebody that I knew super well, and he came in and he said, "Oh, nice to meet you." And it occurred to me, I've been talking to this fellow for 3 years. I've never actually met him in person. Yeah. And I just didn't even think to say introduce myself, because it was I'd known him so well over email.
Yeah.
But we finally had the occasion to be both in the same country, and then finally met him in person.
Yeah. Since you've gotten to know Bill probably better than most Microsoft employees have.
Oh, well, Steve and
yeah, Steve and Ray's up here a lot probably, right. And you certainly get to see. I've come here and had meetings in the room here, and I've had some really interesting meetings that I wish I could tell people about. Even with you in the room. It's
right.
Like,
yep.
It's like I don't think anybody would believe me if I told them what kind of meetings were going on up here.
There was nothing that shocking.
Oh, I don't know. For me, it was shocking, just to be up here. But what's Bill like? I mean, what's it like to work with him every day?
Surprisingly normal.
We see him, as this object almost.
That's right.
From the outside world, he's an object that we see on screen, but we don't get to know him.
No, but at the end of the day, he's another human being, right? And he's somebody you can talk to, and he's very approachable. You can argue with him. You can debate stuff.
Now, really, do you really tell him off? Do you go in there and have arguments the way I have with my, that takes a lot of skill to tell Bill off.
We'll have a debate, but
yeah.
I don't think we've ever argued per se in terms of like a fight or something like that. Okay. But because there's not that many occasions where you really need to fight per se. Yeah. But there's plenty of things we've had a lot of debates about. When you're in our job, we're trying to figure out what investments we want to make, and so you're trying to make some prediction about the future.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty hard to do.
It's very hard to do, and there's a lot of controversy. What do you think about broadband penetration, or what will happen with multi-core chips, or will modeling become very, very important? So a lot of different things where you might have different opinions, or you might look at trend lines and say, well, if the trend is doing this and this other trend is doing that. I might have one interpretation, Bill might have another. Yeah. And it's through that process of discussion and debate that we all get smarter and hopefully come to some consensus, and then go invest and build products. Yeah. And like I was saying, the big change that's happened with sort of Bill and the executive office over the last 3 years is we've now opened up that intellectual debate to the entire company.
Yeah.
Right. And so now hopefully we're getting collectively a whole lot smarter.
Yeah. What's your average day like? Do you work on PowerPoints all day? Do you answer all of the email? I don't know.
Typical day is fairly varied. Like this morning, I had a customer meeting, so we talked about some of our products and some of their wants, and doing an interview with you. My next meeting is go over an acquisition. It's the lunch meeting. Yeah. Then we're going to do some brainstorming in the afternoon. Do some brainstorming on some of the future of our internet services work. With Gary Flake, one of our technical fellows. Yeah. And then one of the nice things that I've been able to do with my calendar is the remaining few hours of the day, I have time to think and learn stuff and study things. And right now I'm studying the scripting language to Second Life, something called Linden script.
Yep. My son's getting into that.
There's some very neat things going on in the world.
It's a lot of fun.
And there's 30 million developers plus in the world.
Yep.
So there's an awful lot of great things going on. And one of the things that's fun about my job is to go out there and study what's going on, learn about it, and just see all the neat stuff.
So and then you go into Bill and say, hey, we should do X, or...
It varies.
Yeah.
Sometimes we should do X, sometimes we should partner with somebody, sometimes we should acquire.
But now, why can't Microsoft do something totally weird and strange like Second Life, and get credit for it, I guess?
Well, arguably we have. I mean, Tablet was, at the time we launched it, that was very strange. And we certainly have had our share of experimental products, like Microsoft Bob or the Barbie product. Right, you laugh, but it's one of the things that actually take pride in this company. Right? We're willing to go out and try something new.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works fabulously, like Xbox, and sometimes it's what we call a learning experience.
Yeah. Well, actually, when I give campus tours to people, I start with the courtyard with all the metal plaques of the first, 15 years of Microsoft's products.
Yep. Yeah, right there in Building 17.
Yeah, and most of the products you've never heard of. They were things that were tried and didn't succeed in the marketplace. And
there's still, if you look through the courtyard there's still a lot that like Office.
There's SQL Server and Office and X.
But you're right, there were a lot of products that we got out there and tried. Particularly say the beginning of the CD-ROM era, and sort of the 93 plus timeframe, 1993 timeframe. We went out there and we tried a lot of new things. And some of them are successful to this day, like Encarta. Yeah. And as you said, some of them maybe aren't as recognizable.
Yeah. Now, why aren't you running Vista on the screens behind you?
I have Vista on my laptop there and over here, and I dual boot Vista to this machine.
Okay.
So I happen to have XP on this machine.
Now, you're one of the guys who uses 3 screens.
That's
Most
right.
employees here are either on 1 screen or 2 screens. Would you recommend 3 screens?
I absolutely would. One of the nice things that happens with 3 screens, let's see if you can see this here. So what I typically do is I'll have email on my left.
Yeah.
And so in one of my jobs, I do a lot of email. That's a big part of it. So I kind of have email off to the peripheral vision there.
Yeah.
And then whenever I happen to be working on like a paper, will be in the center screen, sort of my area of focus.
Right.
And then what I need to read will be on the right.
Yeah.
And so a typical work product that I do is write a paper, where I think about something, learn something, and I want to write it up or summarize it. And so this way I get to focus on what I'm doing, have the material that I'm reading or studying or learning from on the right, and then kind of always in my peripheral vision, just sort of stay on top of the sort of ebb and flow of communications. And I
so do you get pretty ADD after a while? Because I sure get ADD after a while.
No comment. I'll let my doctor and other folks comment on that.
I think a former exec, Linda Stone, calls it continuous partial attention, right? You're paying attention a little here, a little there, a little there, a little there.
Yeah, that's part of the day, but I do try to block off substantial periods of time where I really can focus. Because it's hard to really understand something in a 5-minute chunk, right? And so, if you can get an hour or 2 to really study something, that works better.
Yeah. Now, if there's
ever a world that 3 for me is the magic number. I had 2 monitors at one point, and I found I was still flipping between screens because I always wanted to have something that I was working on, something to read, and my email. And so, having 3 monitors for those 3 things worked out the best.
And what kind of video card do you need to do that?
This machine just has a regular NVIDIA card with 2 outputs.
Yeah.
And then I put in a very inexpensive PCI NVIDIA card for the 3rd monitor.
Excellent.
And it works just fine.
Yeah. Now, if there's ever a worldwide paper shortage, by the way, every Microsoft employee with LCD screens uses the famous stacks of paper to elevate their screens up, which is just fascinating. And it also sort of is a metaphorical reminder of how flat the company is. I mean, you go into some companies and they have palatial offices for the executive team.
Right.
And your office is the same as mine.
That's a regular office.
In fact, you don't even have that good a view.
Well, it's a cloudy day. If the clouds go away, then you can sometimes see.
But I've seen employees with a lot better view.
That's true. There are some really, really nice offices on the campus. Yeah, this is a regular office.
And that's one thing I really have come to appreciate about how Bill and Steve built the company is that it's fairly flat in rewards, fairly flat in
that's right.
in living style. I mean, you got the same carpet I do, you got the same monitors I do.
Well, and that's the paper stacks are actually a good example of that, where. We had this memo a few years ago we called the Shrimp and Weenies.
Yeah, I interviewed the guy who wrote that memo.
Right. And the memo got a lot of controversy, but the basic concept I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We'll spend money and invest where it makes sense. We'll spend money on people. We'll spend money on computer equipment and monitors for efficiency. But if it's something that isn't fundamental to improving our business and helping us make better products for our customers, then we'll basically try to be inexpensive, right? And so this is the cheapest way to elevate monitors for proper ergonomics, so you don't get RSI. So I'd rather have the cheap paper stacks than some fancy ARM or whatnot, because that's not going to improve my productivity. And so let's put the money into better products, and that's the basic idea.
Excellent. Being at a 60,000 person company, sometimes you can feel like you can't make a difference. From my level or further down, I hear that once in a while. It's like, I come in and do my job. I don't know that I can change this company. I don't know that I can, come up with a better product or a better idea. Or what would you say to somebody who says that?
I would say look at Channel 9. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of examples in the company where individuals have made a difference. I mean, Xbox started as an idea from just a few employees.
Yeah, 4 people, right?
I think it was 2, but I'm
2. Yeah, it might have been 2 at the first. Yeah.
At the very beginning, and certainly blogging was a grounds up phenomena. Yeah. Right, and that wasn't a case where.
Did the execs ever want to stop it?
No. We liked it.
We always have ideas. Oh, good companies, and I have met companies that are truly scared of talking to customers in this way.
Well, it is a little, you could be scared because, you're sort of seeing the entire company, the good stuff and the spots where we're all human. But I much prefer the transparency. Yeah. And that's something that, like you said, it's 3,000 individual people, are doing that.
And that's
at all levels.
I can see there's probably more. So.
Right, and so between Think Week for getting new ideas, blogging to have that direct customer connection, it really doesn't matter where you are in the company. I think there absolutely is an opportunity to have impact.
What do you want to do? What are you going to tell Bill when he comes in the office tomorrow, or whenever he comes back? Do you have another dream, or what drives you? What gets you to? Do you have a vision of where you want to take the future? Because that's
this will sound really corny, so I hate saying it. But it's really about making the world a better place.
How do you mean that?
Well, I'll give a personal example. Okay. So my dad runs a small business in Alabama, and there's basically him and 2 other folks in his company. And you look at what he's able to do now. With his company, he basically sells to the entire country. He does all the brochures himself on Publisher. He has a website, and there's just he has a company now that 20 years ago you just couldn't have. And so that's made a huge difference in my own personal family life, right? Where the opportunities that it's enabled for my dad and his company. And that happens, around the world in all different ways, from very small companies to very large companies. Yeah. And we can look historically and say, oh, wow, we're very proud, and we did Publisher, we did Office, we did these things. But now you look forward and see what's coming, and the opportunities ahead of us are just phenomenal. So. As the world gets more connected, there's more opportunities. You can hit not just a nationwide customer base, you can hit a worldwide customer base. Yeah. Right. And so, and I think there's this famous S-curve. I don't know if the boards will... Can we use the
Go
board
ahead.
here?
Sure.
So this is the traditional S-curve of some technology adoption.
Right.
And some people might say, "Oh, we're somewhere up here on the internet.
Yeah.
It's lots of neat stuff has happened, but it's kind of tapering off." I think we're somewhere down here.
Yeah.
Right? We're just seeing the beginning of the inflection point.
Yeah. I totally agree. That's why I'm leaving Microsoft to go try something new. I see opportunities out there that
very few opportunities for our partners, for small businesses, for large businesses,
yeah.
and for Microsoft.
Yeah.
I see. We really just are tapping the beginning of this.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to our earlier discussion about communication and collaboration and information. And the more that sort of 1 and 1 and 1 yields 3 and 5 and 6 and 7 because of the collaboration, the more that just feeds on itself and things get better and better.
Yeah.
And so that's really what excites me.
Do you probably read a lot of blogs too?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So did you see that site that compared Bill Gates and Steve Jobs' PowerPoint styles?
Oh yes, I did see that. That was pretty good.
Are you the guy responsible for the PowerPoint?
No, that's not me. I'm the strategist guy. No, we do have a speech team for Bill, and I believe that came out around the time we were bringing a new person in.
Yeah.
And so it's something we took to heart.
I notice he's been using very little PowerPoint or no PowerPoint at all in a lot of his speeches lately, he did an interview with Tim O'Reilly, sorry. My brain was fried there for a second. And did an interview and without any PowerPoint. I thought that was
That's right.
I thought he came off a lot more like I know him through my meetings with him,
right. Yeah, there's a good lesson there, I think. Even for Bill Gates, there's always something new to learn, always something to improve. And that's kind of the way, at least I try to think of it for myself and the way we try to run the company.
Yeah.
We're happy with what we've done, but we always want to do better.
Yeah. Anything that you'd like to correct about Microsoft that you've heard in the press or from your friends, or because there's so much written about Microsoft and so many misperceptions. I almost make fun of it.
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay.
Right away. And the best way to correct the misperceptions is to read the blogs from the company, because that's transparency at its fullest.
Yeah.
And so you'll see the company as it is.
Yeah.
Or use our products too. That's another way.
And you get to see the good stuff and the bad stuff.
That's right. And there's stuff that if we need to improve on it, then send us the feedback and we'll improve on it.
And that's what's neat now is I can go to live.com, search for OneNote blog if I'm a OneNote user, and up pops Chris Pratley's name.
That's right.
I can click on his blog and see how he talks to people, and I can leave a comment right there and say, hey, I need
and you're going straight to the team, right?
Yeah.
And so there's no filters, there's no intermediaries. With the blogging, you can talk directly to the people involved.
Yeah.
And so I think
like that
fabulous.
a lot. It's
So
a huge change from when I was even an MVP.
No, it's a radical change. And again, going back to my S-curve thing, we've like you said, gone from 80 to 3,000, but I don't think we've really yet seen the effect that this will have.
Yeah.
We're just at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one thing that folks may not know is the amount that we do blogs internally. I don't know if that's been...
And increasingly amount.
But all the work I do now internally is done via blog and a wiki, using the new SharePoint stuff in SharePoint 12.
Yeah, it's really nice. I just interviewed that team as well.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah,
the wikis are fabulous because now it's a super easy way to collaborate.
Yeah.
Right? And have a lot of people contribute to documents or ideas or plans or specifications, things like that.
Over the next year, what's going to be the most shocking thing Microsoft does?
No comment.
I tried to get you to leak it. I tried. I guess that's part of your job, though, is to keep your mouth shut, isn't it?
Well, certainly.
Because you see a lot of cool stuff come to this office, I'm sure.
Well, one of the things I hope will generate a lot of excitement is something we all know is coming out in the coming year, and that's Vista and Office 12. and so I hope a lot of folks will be very pleasantly surprised with the new capabilities.
Yeah.
So there's nothing shocking there in the sense that I think a lot of
we
people
haven't been too quiet about those two things, have we?
But it's kind of easy to forget that it's that they're coming up, and it'll make a big difference.
Yeah. Have you ever had dinner with Bill at his house?
Only when he had the intern dinner.
Really?
So.
I haven't been invited to even that.
Well,
I think we're going to go out and become an intern.
That's right. And all the interns get to have dinner at Bill's house.
Yeah, that's always a cool thing for them. That's
right.
One of the big drawing cards on coming to our intern program.
Yep.
Any story that you can tell us about what happens in this hallway? Do Bill and Steve play Nerf balls in the hallways?
No, I haven't seen any Nerf ball.
Because one thing that I even talked about yesterday, a lot of people here at Microsoft have a really great sense of humor, and that doesn't come through. It comes through sometimes when Bill does his CES videos, those little 3-minute videos where he does something funny. But we don't get to see that kind of banter back and forth. I was sitting up here and I watched Steve and Bill go at it a little bit, And do you have any stories like that, or where maybe a famous person came in the office and something funny happened, or?
None off the top of my head, but we do.
You're smart. You're too.
Well, part of the challenge is, it is a fairly fun working environment. We joke and kid around a lot, but not all those stories. Some of those stories really kind of have to be there.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at one of them there. Maybe we should turn the camera around.
All right.
So that was a hat we had for Halloween. So one Halloween we got the hats for everybody and came in.
Yeah.
And so we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
A little seriously, but not too seriously.
Well, anything else you want to tell us about what you do? And now, when does your stint here end?
It is ending right now. So right now I'm doing 2 jobs. So I'm wrapping up my job as.
Now, has your replacement been picked yet?
Not yet.
So, if you're a smart guy out there, should you, does your boss pitch you? How do you go?
Yeah, we have.
I know a few smart people at Microsoft. I've found a few of them in my travels around.
Feel free to send me some email on that.
Okay.
But we're in the middle of a candidate selection process.
Okay.
And so we'll find my replacement. And my new job is running corporate strategy.
Wow.
Where basically going to take a look at some of the new businesses and new opportunities for the company, and just basically what are the new areas for growth, new areas to add value for our customers.
Yeah.
And so that's a very fun job. You get to be very forward-looking, and basically think about the future.
Do little companies in Silicon Valley keep you up at night?
Oh yeah.
We could guess a few of those.
No, in good ways and bad ways.
Yeah.
One of the things to keep in mind is the industry is a very, very large industry, and we're just a portion of it. So absolutely, there's going to be neat things done by us, and there's going to be neat things done by our partners, and there's going to be neat things done by our competitors.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it works out being a good thing, right? It's that sort of competitive dynamic that keeps the industry moving very fast.
Yeah.
And so it more keeps me up at night in an excited kind of way than an oh my gosh, I'm worried kind of way.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, if we don't do good stuff for our customers, none of it matters.
Yeah.
Right. And we have to have products that people want, that are valuable to them.
Yeah. Well,
and that's kind of what it really boils down to.
That's true for a big multinational company as well as a small little startup. If you don't, if your customers aren't happy and buying your product, then you go find a job.
That's right. No,
put your resume on Craigslist.
Exactly.
I've had to do that a couple of times in my career.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. It's been a quite enjoyable
Thank you very much,
ride.
Robert. It was great to have you here at the company, and best
you.
of luck into your in your new job.
Thanks.